Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jeff. This is Will to Live Off-Road, and I have some huge announcements to make. Did you guys know that Scout is back? They unveiled two new vehicles, the 2028 Terra pickup and the 2028 Traveler SUV. Now, I knew they were going to focus on delivering some EV only rugged off-road vehicles, and I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm expecting something similar to like the Cybertruck or even the Rivian or the Hummer, just a dedicated EV architecture. That wasn't the case at all. And in fact, I was so excited. I was so excited by some of the tech involved, some of the forethought, the bold styling, and just the attention to detail that I myself have decided, and I might be crazy, I put a deposit on one. That's right, I put a deposit on one. I have not been next to one. I have not got to see one. It will be probably 3 years, but I am a reservation holder on a Scout Traveler SUV. And I gotta be honest, I am really, really stoked. Before we get too far into this, I do not want this video to be just a bunch of regurgitation of all the things that I'm sure have been reported elsewhere. They had a huge unveiling. There were a lot of influencers and a lot of reporters and a lot of just everybody got their take on what they saw and just, went over all the things. That's out there. Go check that out. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to discuss what compelled me to make the bold step to put a deposit on this vehicle and what I feel are the three biggest aspects of what pushed me into this purchase. But before we get there, let's real quick just recap a little history of the Scout and how we got to this moment, and then we'll run through those three things. Now, Scouts were sold under International Harvester in the 60s, 70s, and the early part of 1980. And many people know that the Scout 2 was one of the coolest SUVs around. I can remember just as a kid in the 80s, there was like an older guy in the town that I live in, and he had a white lifted up Scout 2. It's probably like a late 70s model, and I thought that was like one of the coolest vehicles ever. And it just had such a presence and everything. I mean, you used to see a lot of them, and with time and everything, there's just fewer and fewer of them on the road. You just don't see that many of them anymore. October the 21st of 1980 registered the last vehicle manufactured at the Fort Wayne, Indiana Scout plant. And after that, they just folded up. The International Harvester continued to make different things, but vehicles were just not one of them. 2021, Volkswagen Group bought Navistar International. With that, they had the rights to the Harvester name and Scout. And they announced that they were going to have a lofty goal of producing in the USA and a rugged off-road vehicle that just happened to be EV. And I mean, this went kind of under the radar. I mean, I knew this, but I mean, like, you just see these renders and stuff, and I'm thinking in my mind like Cybertruck or like, I mean, they came out with a Hummer. These are extremely expensive vehicles, 100,000 plus, and I just, I didn't know how this was going to be implemented. It's just whatever. That is until last Thursday, they unveiled the two new models, and they start to give some specs. Their battery, obviously an EV, 350-mile range, but what really tipped it for me was this range extender. More on that here in just a second, but these things are capable of going upwards of 500 miles, and it's just incredible. All right, the number one reason why I decided to put that deposit down was it looks the part. Very aggressive, beefy 35-inch tires, a very good departure angle, a split tailgate with a swing out tire carrier. I mean, and it just looks like an off-road vehicle. It looks rugged. It's a good blending of the original to something more modern without being just completely ridiculous looking. It looks really, really good. A lot of people are going to try to compare it to a Rivian, and there's a lot of, I don't know. I mean, to me, I think it's a much better design. I really, really like the design. The design is just a really fearless approach to it, and it's just bold. It just really looks good. And it's got enough key elements from the original to just make it look like I said, just a very modern interpretation of that, including physical buttons and switches, door handles, and the like. Too many things now. Everything is going through, like, your AC is through some operating system, and you have to go and do that, or to turn the radio down. It's like an act of Congress to be able to do that. This is just, it's simple, but it's well done. The interior, they knocked it out of the park. Even with a seating in the front, in the very big front of the vehicle, lots of ways to charge the vehicle, charge your devices within the vehicle, charge big appliances. There's a lot here, and it's very functional for an avid off-roader, an overlander, whatever. Number 2, let's go over some of the mechanical aspects. 1, body on frame construction. As I stated, this is a complete new vehicle from the ground up. That complete new chassis, everything. So the batteries will drive the front wheels and the rear wheels. Solid rear axle. Of all things, a solid rear axle in an EV is just insane. So they're serious about the off-road credentials of this vehicle. Front and rear mechanical locking differentials. Say no more. I mean, that's huge. There's going to be a lot of critical details that will eventually come out, but that's good. About 120-inch wheelbase, almost 12 inches of ground clearance. It is really wide, and with the weight being low because of the batteries, I feel like it's probably going to wheel pretty good. But, again, we'll know more when we get to start to see some of these driving impressions come out and they get some more fully functioning prototypes out there to do testing with and everything. Mechanically, it brings everything to the table of what you would expect a real true off-roader to be able to do. Lastly, point number 3, the harvester system. And I love how they utilize this. You may be asking, what is the harvester system? The harvester system is an onboard gas generator, and it will be utilized to basically charge your batteries up if you're out in the field. They market it as a range extender, and so with that, you're going to be able to get somewhere around 500 miles to the charge. Now, there's a few things about this that I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work. I don't know whether or not you would be able to carry more gas with you and continue to run off of the generator to recharge the batteries. But the way it is, you're going to be able to, no matter how far off the grid you get, you still have the ability to continue to go. It's always been my biggest fear with any of these things, is just to get out into these remote places and something happens, and it's just like, the battery starts to get like an excessive draw and it pulls down. You think you got 25 miles, and before you know it, you got 5. And then what happens if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you get just stuck? That makes it. It's just a unique way to do this. They say that the batteries will be just a little bit smaller. It'll have all the off-road ability that the EV only will. Also, if you're not aware, there was a joint venture between Volkswagen and Rivian, so a lot of that battery technology carries over from Rivian. They've been making some off-road oriented vehicles now for quite some time. So they're able to kind of bounce some of that investment dollars that they're putting into Rivian to be able to pull some of that to help design the architecture for this vehicle. And there it is, my 3 points. Guys, I'm so excited to get my hands on this vehicle. It's going to be a really quick 3 years. Hopefully, maybe I will be able to get some deeper information, come back to you at some other time with that. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think it's going to be an amazing vehicle, both on and off-road. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any questions or concerns or comments, please leave me a comment below. And if you also would like to get your name on the waiting list, go to scoutmotors.com, and there are links there to reserve your spot for a reservation with that. Thank you so much. See you guys later.